Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing the Belfast swivel armchair. It's such a high-end, luxurious piece. Let's dive into its details. First of all, let's start by saying that the Belfast armchairs belongs to the Belfast collection of sofa, and so there's a matching modular sofa which you can combine to the Belfast armchair. But here in the showroom we chose to display this specific unit because it's so rich in terms of build and craftsmanship. It's a rather big armchair because it is 95 centimeters wide by 90 centimeters deep, and it's 82 centimeters high. So let's start from its design. First of all, you perceived its two main elements, which are the supporting structure, which has this kind of U-shaped, very thin and rounded, okay? And then you have what are to be perceived as single units, the seat and the back. And you do perceive that it is a structural back. So there is not the backrest and the counter backrest, which supports the backrest, but it's perceived as a single piece. So let's talk about how the Belfast armchair is built. So we have a metal structure around every element. So a metal structure, a round tube, creates the perimeter onto which every other piece is assembled. Then we can create a distinction between the seat and the backrest. If we talk about the seat, inside this metal perimeter, we have a poplar wood panel with holes carved into the panel, and these holes are meant to let the flow of air that is created when you sit onto the armchair. And on top of this poplar panel, you have polyurethane foam built in 3 different densities. You start with 35, then 30, then 25, and on top of that you get natural feather fillings. So the point is that you have a rigid structure underneath, which is the poplar panel, but on top of that you have 4 layers, which start with the more supporting layer down below, and the softer layer just below your legs and bottom, and this creates great comfort. The backrest is built in a slightly different way because we have the same metal structure all around. Then we have elastic bands which create an orthogonal support to the 25 kilograms density polyurethane foam. And on top of that you have the natural feather fillings, and bear in mind that all the natural feathers are built with a canalized approach, in the sense that there are different compartments, and so you cannot press the feathers that move from here to here, so you don't really sink in when you let all your weight onto the seats or onto the backrests. So we said that the Belfast armchair has generous dimensions, and considering that it has these rather thin armchairs, it's quite big, the seat that you can enjoy, because it's 78 centimeters wide, 58 centimeters deep, and the height of the seat is 43 centimeters, so just slightly below the height of a standard chair. The fact that it is wide and deep does suggest, you're not forced to, it is an optional element, does suggest that you can add this sort of cushion, scatter cushion. You could use it for your lower back like this. I actually do like it when used like this. I very much like it. But you could also keep it on a side to create some movement. The fact that it is so large, I can imagine well, a man as well, but especially a woman, or I can imagine my daughter to remove his or her shoes and sit with his or her legs folded onto the armchair, and I can imagine sitting like this. Well, I will not do it here with shoes, but I can imagine this sort of comfy, relaxed moment with such an armchair. Here we see the swivel base, and of course we demonstrated it in this video. There's also another version with the angle feet, which are the same angle feet of the Belfast sofa. You know, with swivel chairs, of course, the swivel feature is very nice in terms of perception when you sit onto the chair. It doesn't have a spring built inside, so it means, let's assume that in your living room the orderly way of putting the armchair, or a couple of armchairs would be like this, and maybe when you stand up, you leave the armchair like this. The models with a spring, then the armchair is brought back to its original position on its own. A model without a spring, of course, it is more convenient in certain situations because I might want to face the fireplace, which is on this side, and I might want to face the telly, which is on the other side. But you can imagine that sometimes the armchair is not in the desired perfect position. Then it's very easy, of course, to put it back. The metal structures are available in multiple finishes. You have 10 standard colors for the metal, and then you have the all RAL scale to choose from. Upholstery materials, you can use all our collections of natural leathers, fabrics, velvets, faux leathers, but I'd like to talk about these two specific materials. This is called Aurora. It's a new fabric in our collection. It has a great competitive price, very convenient, and it has this chenille effect. It is machine washable at 30 degrees. It has a slight writing effect, not very pronounced. Well, you do perceive it depending on the lighting. And well, it's convenient and very practical, and it has a good range of colors. About the leather that we see here, this is called Ghost, and this is unique. It's one of the few leathers which have a fully vegetal tanning process. So it means that this leather is colored, is dyed, not using chemicals. There are no chemicals at all in the process. Actually, the tannins, which are a byproduct, basically a waste of the wood industry, they are recovered and used to process and color these leathers. And so not only it's beautiful to the touch and it has these beautiful shades and variations, but also it's fully eco-compatible and there are no chemicals at all used. I must say that this leather in particular is quite rigid, is not as soft as other leathers, and so I do suggest it for structural elements like this, and I would not use it, for example, for a full cushion. But here we see a good, I love two colors products where you use two different materials, two different colors, and this is an example of how you can match different materials to create a kind of contrasting effect on a similar color. So we come to the end of today's product review about the Belfast Swivel armchair. I hope that you like it and see you next time. Bye bye.